Hurricane Milton is now the fourth strongest hurricane ever recorded in the Atlantic history. This is massive, friends. This is a huge storm. What kind of numbers we're seeing out there are in many ways unprecedented. So those of you still wondering whether or not you should still be in the area or whether you should really take shelter, the answer is definitely take shelter, get to high ground, get to sturdy buildings if you're in the area. And if you're outside the area, be praying for the people of Florida. I got a lot of updates. I got a lot of information to convey to you guys. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and we're trying to keep you up to date with what's going on out there. The most up-to-date information, getting this out just a couple hours before the storm hits. We're seeing that the storm is supposed to make landfall between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., sometime like that, this evening to Thursday morning or Wednesday evening. Storm surge. This is going to be the biggest storm surge we've seen in the Tampa Bay area. Estimates as high as 15 feet. This is, you know, compared to what we've seen, the highest recently was like 7 point something feet. We're now looking at a potential of 15 feet storm surge. And as we think about the hurricane, let's remember that 90% of fatalities related to hurricanes come from water, not wind. Okay, so strong wind is a big deal, but the reason why it's such a big deal is because it drives so much water ahead of the storm. So that strong wind is going to really push a lot of water up onto the shore, and that is where we're going to see probably a lot of the issues that we have with people getting hurt. So if you're in the area, be protecting yourself from the water first, and then also protect yourself from flying debris. This storm is massive. We're seeing from the center 125 miles out radius on either side, 125 miles this way, 125 miles that way, is how wide the tropical storm wind is. This is going to be a massive swath. The hurricane winds are much more concentrated around the center, but 125 miles by 125 miles, friends, we're talking about a big storm that's going to really cut its way across the state of Florida at this time. It has shifted a little bit south. It's not going to hit Tampa right in the nose. It's going to drop down. It's already dropped down a little bit, but we've already started hearing word that it started drifting a little bit northward, back towards Tampa again, but not as strongly. So it is going to hit probably, the center is going to hit just south of Tampa, and then it's going to head across the state towards Orlando. Now, one of the things that's really scary about this storm is how small its eye is. We're looking at a what is it? A 3.8 miles wide eye. Most storms have a much wider eye, and this really just speaks to the intensity of the storm. It's a lot of wind, and it's really going fast. This thing, we've never seen really a storm pick up speed like this, except one other notable exception was Katrina. Katrina rapidly gained strength, and this Hurricane Milton has rapidly gained strength up to Category 5 as it brushed the Yucatan Peninsula, dropped its wind down, but then it has ramped back up. It's looking like it's going to hit the coast as a Category 4. It's going to hit Tampa, just south of Tampa, as a Category 4, maximum winds of 155 miles an hour. This is one of the strongest storms to ever make landfall in the United States. So we're talking about a massive deal. And when we're talking about hitting from the direction that it's hitting, that's what's going to really make the storm really unique. powerful, but then also hitting from a very unique angle. The last time a major storm hit Tampa like this from this direction was, like I said, back in the 1800s. We are looking at a massive response from the state of Florida. They are already staging a record amount of linemen that are prepared and ready to deploy to fix power lines and to get power back on as quickly as possible. But they're expecting extensive damage. 50,000 linemen, over 50,000 linemen is what Governor DeSantis has announced are the number of linemen that are waiting and are ready to respond to outages from California all the way up to Maine. We're seeing linemen who have deployed down to Florida to respond to this disaster. All right. Now, I said that this storm is the 4th strongest ever recorded. Now, that is by pressure. At its peak, 897 MB of pressure is unprecedented, really, except for just a few storms out there. We've had, what was it, like 40 Category 5s since like 1920 something. Only 4 of them ever made landfall at Category 5s, but very few of them made landfall as Category 4s even. This is going to hit as a Category 4. So we're looking at a massive amount of coastline affected, massive storm surge ahead of the hurricane. If you're in Florida right now in these areas, you're probably already committed to being there. So this is hopefully just information for you. Watch out for that water. Of course, that is where it's going to really cause issues. Now, rain. We're looking at, right now, the estimates are approximately 18 inches of rain. That's how much they're expecting this storm to dump on Florida. Expect all of your, just think of 18 inches across the ground, but then that's going to flow into wherever water collects. So think of your drainage area, and then how big of a ditch or a lake or whatever you got for that water to flow into. Expect that to go up significantly more than the 18 inches, depending on how much of an outlet it has, all that kind of thing. Just put that into your brain, 18 inches. We are talking about expected landfall, 155 miles per hour wind maximum. It will probably be down from there very quickly off the coast, but there are some places along the coast you may see that. It is already spinning off tornadoes all over the place. We've seen a number of tornadoes on land already, and this thing hasn't even made landfall yet. So expect tornadoes. Keep your eye out for that. Make sure you're in a hardened, tornado-proof location. And then also be watching for alerts and everything like that out there. What you should definitely be looking for right now, making sure you have radio. Make sure you have a radio with you that can pick up FM, AM, and then also weather channels. That's where you're going to get primarily your information, as well as your cell phone. Make sure your cell phone is nice and charged up. Make sure you're able to recharge your cell phone because you're going to want to look at that. If power goes out where you are, one of the first things you might want to do is turn down the brightness on the screen of your cell phone. That's not just to not disturb other people. It will dramatically extend the lifespan of your cell phone. So go into settings, turn down the brightness dramatically. A lot of you guys have it set on automatic, so it'll automatically adjust to what you got going on around you. That may work sometimes or sometimes not. You want to move it down as low as you can still see the screen comfortably and still read the information that you're looking at. That will dramatically elongate the battery life. Also, watch out for videos Videos are, yeah, I know, ironic that I'm saying this, right? But videos are going to really dramatically eat up your battery life as well. So think about that. Try not to use the screen with the videos because that will use up a lot of battery life. You can, if you have like a YouTube, the paid version of YouTube, you can download YouTube videos. That's what I do personally. That's a super useful thing. If you have Amazon Prime, where you have the video thing, you might be able to download videos there. If you have Netflix, you can download videos under certain plans and stuff like that too. So you can download things in case the internet goes down. So you still have stuff for the kids to watch or for entertainment or whatever. I know a lot of you are going to be sleeping through a lot of this because it's going to hit so early in the morning. Just to give you some idea of scope of how many people are going to be affected by this, Tampa itself, home to 3.3 million people. That's why this is such a big deal. So many people are going to be impacted by this. We have 15 Florida counties with mandatory evacuations. Make sure you're aware whether or not you are mandated to evacuate. I know it's already last minute. You may need to stay in place at this point where you are, but be aware whether you are under mandatory evacuation. Of these 15 counties with mandatory evacuations, that's not to say this whole number is mandatory evacuated, right? But 7.2 million people live in these counties where some of these mandatory evacuations are, right? Like, don't hear me saying 7.2 million people are mandated to be evacuated. No. 7.2 million people live in these counties, of which some of them are being mandatory evacuated. Also, be aware that some of your areas are going to be much more moving towards mandatory evacuations, whereas other areas are going to be much more just like, we're going to leave it up to our people. Understand the differences in your government. Some of your government areas, they're not going to issue mandatory evacuations, even though other counties would have, given the same situation. So know your landscape, know what's going on around you. Definitely be ready to listen to the radio on things. In the very unlikely event that you actually go through the eye of the storm, make sure that you get back inside before the other other wall of the eye of the storm crosses you. But right now, the eye of the storm is 3.8 miles wide, so it's not going to affect so many people. Of course, that's always one of those things that can catch some people off guard. But storm surge is going to peak. What they're saying is Wednesday night to early Thursday is when the storm surge on the coast is going to peak, and then it's going to start ramping back down. Even though the wind may continue to escalate, the water will start to drop along the coast, and that will make things a little bit easier for folks there too. Lots of flooding. Be aware, this is getting a little ahead of myself, but be aware of the mold issues. If you get things wet that absorb water, including your walls, that stuff is going to have to be fully dried out, and you're potentially going to have mold there. So there's a lot of the stuff is going to have to be tossed out. Don't get stingy with the stuff that you pull out of your house. I'm sorry, there's so much to be lost. If you're in your home still right now, run through your home. Think of everything low that is valuable that you would absolutely not want to throw out, and see if you can get it up higher. Because there's going to be a lot of flooding in the next day or so. Places that don't expect to be flooded are going to get flooded. Move your most important items up. Clothes, get them up as high as possible. If you get back to your home relatively quickly, or if you're still in your home after the water recedes and you've had water in your home, get your valuable items out of your home as quickly as possible before the mold really starts growing. because the mold's going to send off spores, and it's going to make everything in the house need to be thrown away. So get all of your valuables out of the house as quickly as possible. This goes for if you're helping other people too, right? If other people's houses have been flooded and you get there relatively quickly in the first couple of days, get their stuff, get their most valuable stuff out of the house. Get it to someplace dry so that it doesn't start getting mold spores all over it too. All right, friends, watch out for each other. Check in by phone with people that you love, people that you know in the Florida area. Don't wake them up at 2 a.m. in the morning, but check in with them. Make sure that they have a plan and make sure that they have what they need. And also check in to see how they're doing after the storm has kind of passed, and see what's going on with things. All right. Thanks so much for watching, friends. This is going to be a massive one. I know Hurricane Helene has been massive impacts, and we have so far to go in recovering from that. But this storm system is going to do a massive amount of damage down in Florida as well. We're going to be bracing for that. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up on the screen somewhere. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.